right, Mr. Petty's gonna be a little late.
May we recognize?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Carson wishes to record the meeting under the rule he's allowed. His camera is non-intrusive to other people. And he came up to me as county attorney to inform me and ask me to inform you. And since there's no place for public input, I'm doing so. He is in compliance with the rule.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Well, Mr. Pettis is gonna be a little late, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the department heads. Joe, you have anything? Sure.
I do not.
Eric?
Thank you, Commissioner. So, a few quick things tonight. We received a application for naming public buildings, lands, roads, and bridges. Somewhat similar to the one we just did recently. Let me pass it down. This is Ms. Wingo submitted this. You know, I think this is good. Sorry. Ms. Wingo's request is actually not to rename the road, so it's kind of similar to what we just had. From what I understand, her grandfather had 13 children, and they all live right here on this county at 128. Most of them do. Large community of family, and apparently that's referred to as Cougar Town. That's something you're familiar with? I think Commissioner Ackworth had heard of that. And so I think this is a new thing. I just think the community is called Cougar Town, and Ms. Wingo is requesting to go through the process to basically put 2 signs up, just kind of like historical marker type signs that just kind of entering like Cougar Town, and have that on both sides of the community. And so we wouldn't be paying for anything. It'd be very similar to the memorial sign we just did. Mr. Cougar has been passed away since 1987. So and his wife in 2008. So it meets all of our criteria that we require. But I just wanted to present that to you guys.
You know, there's also a Cobra Cemetery down in that area as well.
So, you know, it's from a road department standpoint, it doesn't, this doesn't affect 911, it doesn't affect anything we do. So
It's fine with me.
That's fine with me.
That's good.
So if you guys are good with it, I'll pass that over to Attorney Smith and let him handle that process like he did last time with the public hearing and scheduling and all that stuff. And so,
Is that kind of in the middle of 128? I see the number here,
I'm
but
not sure. Yeah, and I think that these are all the house locations she's got listed there. 768 to 355. So, yeah, it said had 13 children and 56 grandchildren.
Yeah.
So, so it's a large community. So.
If I'm not mistaken, the cemetery's on just off of 128.
yeah, it's on the other road. One road runs this way and it's you turn off.
Next thing I have, we talked about this last time with the new positions we've been talking about. Kind of doing some review on that. We kind of settled on job titles. You know, currently our position is truck driver. You know, we were considering maybe doing a laborer position just underneath that. But instead of that, we came up with a road maintenance technician, 1 and 2. And so that really doesn't change anything other than a title. Now, the 1 would be available if we do have the non-CDL guy, it would give us that. But to kind of give you an example where we are right now, we've got 6 employees that have come in at temporary, like we have in that temporary status. 5 of them have their CDL. And so the majority of those guys could come right in as a 2. But that 1 position, leaving us that 1 position, gives us a little bit of leeway for our 18-year-olds, for people that don't have their CDL, to give them that opportunity to get it, okay? Now, part of this process too, now our handbook, you know, we have a 6-month probation period, but something that we will do inside of this to kind of keep the process we have now, but to change it to a full-time position. You know, currently we have summer help, so it's a pretty long interview process. So if somebody doesn't come to work or doesn't do a good job or whatever, at the end of the summer, they don't usually make the top of the list on getting hired full-time. they're already gonna be full-time now, so it's gonna put more on us to make sure that we're doing a good process of reviewing. And so we'll probably have an internal 30-day process where we do a evaluation, then do a 90-day process of evaluation, and then of course at 6 months, which will be the end of the probation period, at that point have another evaluation. I think that's good for the employee. I think it's fair to them, kind of let them know, where they are, where they stack up anyways. But because of our new process, that is something I just want to mention to y'all that we'll have to be very diligent about, making sure that we're evaluating on the front end for sure. Make sure
Eric, so is this gonna address the tractor situation?
I think so.
One more question. On your CDLs, what kind of CDLs?
Class B,
So a 2 would be a class B.
yes.
Would they get paid the same as the tractor driver?
No, in theory.
See, I think it's our problem, guys. I still think you gotta come up with something, cause to me, if you're bush hogging these hillsides, I think that's a lot more skill level than driving a dump truck. And I'm not throwing off on the dump truck.
Sure,
That's
sure.
skill too, but
Well, the hard part is we've got to have CDL drivers. We have so much equipment that does require it, that if we don't incentivize it, I'm afraid in 10 years we'll look up and we won't have enough. And so making sure we get those guys, currently you got to have it. We literally have one position. There's one position that doesn't require it as an office position we have, and we sometimes use that when we need to. Somebody can't take the test or but that's my concern for the long haul. And I agree with you on the value of the bush
but
hog.
here's the thing: if it solves the problem, it solves the problem. Doesn't really matter. So I guess we'll go this route if y'all are good with it, and then if it don't solve the problem, then we're gonna have to come up with some other class.
But if we're putting 6 full-time people in those spots, then the other guys that don't have their CDLs, the 3, if we hire that don't have it, they can be the flaggers. They won't be driving those guys are gonna be driving, the CDL people will be driving the whatever those machines
Well,
are talking
And you're
about.
talking about tractors though. when-
Yeah, I'm talking about the bush hog.
But
That's the
Well, me
problem.
too, that's
Yeah.
what me too.
But here's the good news. Here's the good news. Anybody that comes in, we can say, hey, you're gonna come in at this level 1. Here's what you gotta do to get your CDL. And we help them with that. When I say help them, we have trucks. So like, at the end of the shift, we may have time for those guys to, for some of the more senior guys to kind of show them, hey, this is what you need to do in the truck. Here's the things they're looking for on the driving test. So we can kind of help them with that, and which is a big deal, because if you're on your own, you got to rent a truck.
Well,
So
like I said, if it takes care of the problem.
I think it does. I think it does, and I do like the thought of incentivizing for that CDL. I think it helps us in the long run.
Well, and I think too, I'm in favor of doing it exactly what Commissioner Garner says. Only thing we're gonna run into, and I see this happening, is when we start these full-time out with the full-time that's already been there. So there's gonna have to be something worked out there.
Well, they make their they get their raises every year. They won't be at start pay unless they just started. You're thinking they're gonna start at the same rate, they
They
won't.
start out
Okay.
with 500 this year, and it's in there now.
Okay.
But so the tractor driver can go ahead and take his CDL, go level 2,
Yeah,
drive.
and
That's
get-
right.
get
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably, cause
Yeah.
that would be pretty.
So the same guy, if he hires and he's already got it, he's gonna be a 2. If he
Right.
don't have it, he's gonna be a 1. As soon as he gets it, we bump him to 2. Matter of fact, today, we had a guy, our logistics, I forget what we call it, the logistics specialist that we created last year. We had a guy in that didn't have his A's, that we were wanting to put in that. He got his A's today. So we will promote him into that now that he has it.
How many A's do you have as of today?
Actually, out of that 5 that just come in, I think 2 of those had A's. So I'm guessing, but I'm gonna say probably 5.
But anything other than the trailer can use B,
Yeah.
right?
The hardest thing we have, hazmat and tanker. Tanker stuff, because our water truck needs it.
So Eric, the guy that come in as just the tractor driver could actually go take his A's.
But we don't distinguish anywhere between A and B. Now,
Oh, so the money's the same on
that logistics specialist, and we only have 2 of those positions. One of those, the fuel guy, because he has to have hazmat and tanker. That one we've got at a higher level, and then our Class A, our lowboy driver. So I think we got 3 positions total that incentivize for that, but that hazmat and tank is a big deal, and I think you have to pay a fee every year, there's some other restrictions. So right now, we're good, but,
Well, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more difficult than the B.
and the testing it's so crazy. I mean, it depends on the day. We've had guys go over there and they pretty much knew from the start they weren't gonna pass. And so, I forget, we had the crazy, I can't even remember what it was last year, but we had somebody fail for something that just didn't even make sense, but they went back and passed it fine the next time.
Larry, you mentioned fuel truck. What happened to the idea of maybe that we were gonna put fuel tanks on
We've
some of our
done that.
trucks?
We've
You've
done
done it already, but you still have to have a big.
We still have that fuel, for like the graders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The problem we run into is to get a fuel tank big enough to do it, you lost all your bed.
Yeah,
It's
a good idea though.
Yeah, but we've done it on like motor and crews, a lot of those crews, we've cut out a lot of that. Just, that truck don't have to run everywhere all day long, so he gets to do a lot of other stuff too. We use this in him in the shop for a lot, so he may run out in the morning, fuel graders, fuel, different things that like at the pit, the bulldozer and things like that, but yeah, we've done that for a big part.
Well, I don't know how you made it without Sydney.
It's been a struggle.
No, Sydney, I'm just saying that. Sydney's a great guy. He retired.
He was a good one too. The only other thing I've got, the equipment we talked about, we were supposed to have a demo set up this Thursday, that fell through. But we're very excited about that. We got that spot paved, since we talked last time. We did that soil cement stabilization test spot. We went back Thursday and paved that. It held up like this floor. So it's set up. I'm very pleased with what we saw. Fully loaded asphalt trucks didn't move it.
So when can you have this piece of equipment here?
He told me he could have it in 2 weeks.
So,
It's here, and their U.S. headquarters is in Nashville, so it's there.
so when you gonna do, when you think you'll do the demo?
He's hoping a week from today. He's calling me back, and it's not the machine's not the hard part to get. It's the crew that would come in and show us everything on it, getting those guys scheduled.
So is it gonna be a big advantage to you if we add it to the agenda and approve it?
Yeah.
So that would help you.
And the reason I say that, we don't meet again until
The 24th.
24th.
Well, fellas, I'd like to add it to the agenda for this, and do it based on this, based on Eric going and seeing the demo and being completely happy with it and sure that it's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Cause, I've got about 4 miles of road that, and you can ask Eric, it's just chewed all to pieces. And it's not gonna do any good to pave it with what we're paving. It's got heavy trucks running on it.
We'll add it during the meeting, we're not gonna add it right now, we've already got our budget, we've already got the agenda.
That's what I'm talking about.
Eric, will they give us some kind of training
Yes, sir.
along with that for our guys?
And just so y'all know, when we buy something like this, I request 2 trainings. These guys know me. I want a day of delivery training. Show me where to sit, how to turn it on, not blow it up. Okay, get me going. And then I ask them to come back in 3 weeks. Like, let us figure out, we don't even know what questions to ask on that first day. So we always set it up with 2 trainings. So they come in and do enough training to get us operating, and then they'll come back soon thereafter. And really, I've just found over the years, it's hard to get it all. The first day, you're still figuring out everything.
Yeah, with you having that as part of the agreement, I'm for moving forward as well.
I think, I think it's gonna be a game changer for us, and we need it desperately.
The reason I say that it would help us, we, just our math on this thing, I'm thinking roads that were taking us between 2 and 3 weeks to dig out and repair and plow, I'm thinking 3 days. I mean, it's a game changer.
And the
on time.
material cost
Oh.
that you're hauling in there, cause you don't haul any crusher running.
Yeah, a little, but not
Little.
much. Not much. Now,
Not too large, so.
hey, hauling off too, you get in some of these places, we have to, you have to find, the landfill's a long way away from Anderson. Or wherever you have to take it, sometimes we stockpile it, or, we got a few places we just dump it, for people, but sometimes it's a long haul. So this will be a big advantage for that. And also, take this in accumulation with the other thing we just talked about. You take 8 dump trucks that run all day, either hauling off or hauling in, I mean, those guys are gonna be freed up to, I'm already looking forward to a lot of the dirt road stuff we can get back to, that we just, this time of year, we just can't. Because we've got all of our trucks doing that, which it's needed, it's the most important thing we do. I don't wanna minimize it all. These dig outs is the most important thing we do. Without doing that, we're just going backwards. And so this is what the long term, what gets us really going. But we got a bunch of other stuff too, so.
Well, have we looked at, any kind of, new pit or whatever in the west end? We're just hauling everything out of the east end, right?
Right now, but when we got Dwayne's pit, we use that Oakley pit.
Oh, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Off of 8th,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah, it's great church, it's better than the Woodsville
Yeah.
church.
That'll be there
Oh.
for years.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, so we've got plenty of church down there. It's just been, and something else too, and I hadn't figured this out yet, but some of our real tricky west end dirt roads, I think we're gonna be able to utilize this cement process we're doing. And I don't know anybody else that does that, and I gotta figure that out, but I've got an idea where I think, like some of these steep hills where we've been hauling it, red clay all the way from Center Hill to try to get something that's tacky. Cement's pretty tacky, so we may try that on a few of them hills and see what that does, so.
We had a good one start on B83, down at right.
Yeah.
Up Texas Ridge.
Yes, I know what you're talking
That's,
about. So we'll see. It may not work on that, but I've been just trying to think about all the other things we could utilize it for, so. Anyway, that's all I have, sure.
any questions?
I've got a technical advisory committee tomorrow with Aldott in Montgomery, so I'll be down there. I'll have 7 hours on the road, come and get with me. So.
Very good.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Brett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the agenda tonight is the proposal from Fitch and Associates that went before the city council last week and was approved by the city council, so it's there for your consideration. A couple things that came out of the city council, just so that everyone's aware. Number one, in the proposal that was sent to us, there was an option to save about $5,000 by just getting a digital copy and not getting the hard copy. I've recommended to the city, I recommend to the commission as well, that we get the hard copy. It will just be more inclusive than the PowerPoint presentation that will be associated with the digital. And as decisions are made, I think it's just gonna be important to have that hard documentation that we need for those conversations. So that's on your agenda tonight. Any questions about that? Okay. Second, let me clarify something that happened during the last work session. So I apparently stuck my foot in my mouth and didn't realize it, and may have been somewhat disrespectful inadvertently to Commissioner-elect Nix. I think he would be a fine member of the 911 board. I interpreted the question as sitting members of the commission, and so that was brought to my attention. I wanted to clear the air and clear the room that there was nothing intentional associated with that. But speaking of the 911 board, I did as instructed by the commission and took that same proposal to the city council last week. They had a couple of questions. The mayor has called and asked a few more questions. And I know that he's either has or is going to reach out to Chairman Pettis. And let me be real clear on part of that, particularly the rotating position. The way that the ordinance was originally established, it states that the EMA director shall be the joint appointee. I just think that's a bad idea. It's a very ethical gray area that I would prefer the commission and the city not put me in by that. Being the chairman, or excuse me, the duly appointed member of the board for which pays a portion of my salary, that's just no go. So that's kind of the antithesis between the commission chairman and the city and the mayor being the 7th member of that. Obviously, that information has been forwarded to Mr. Smith and Mr. Musgrove for them to look back, because there's some legal ramifications and things that need to be discussed there. So that's in process. If you call down to EMA in the next couple of weeks, you're going to notice a couple of changes when you call. So since the two organizations are still kind of together, but they're functionally separated, We've instituted through RPSS, which is the state 911 telephone group, at no cost to anyone, a phone tree. So when you call the 6363 number, instead of it searching for a live voice down there, you're gonna have a phone tree, and that phone tree will direct you. If you need 911 addressing, press this number. If you need the communication center, press this number. If you need EMA administration, press this number. And then we're also instituting a public information line. So as we have storm damage that comes through, road closures, kind of think back to January when we had a number of roads closed, to try to lessen the inundation on 911 of those calls. And we're going to institute a phone number or an option within our phone tree so that you can get up-to-date road information. We'll use that if there's severe weather that affects or impacts our area. I am happy to report thus far, we've been very, very fortunate. We have had a number of tornadoes since January. We've had over 70 tornado warnings in North Alabama. And at last check, I think we're up to about 32 confirmed touchdowns that have happened throughout North Alabama. So that's all of the Huntsville Weather Services area, but we have not had any significant damage that has happened within our county. The pop-up storms that came through last week, we had some minor damage in downtown, which followed the same track as the confirmed tornado in Franklin County, the Red Bay area that moved through here. So we kind of know where that came from. And so all of that's working through fine. Last is I'll probably be bringing some information to you for your consideration. We have a longtime employee within EMA who will be retiring next month. And so if the commission sees fit, I'd like to do something to recognize her and her years of service to the county. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions the commission has.
I have one.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure I understood. Is that just you having to call and they tell you to get transfer you this number, this number's home? You said that's only gonna be for 2 weeks.
No, sir, over the next 2 weeks. So the way that the phone system is set up right now, number one, no employee has voicemail. So if you call and you ask for me and I'm not there, then somebody has to pen and paper write that information down. The caller is not really gonna be very forthcoming with a lot of information. And so first thing is we're setting up voicemail for all of our employees so that if someone needs to talk specifically to an individual, they can. The second is we're establishing a phone tree so that when you call into EMA, that you can get to the person that you need. Right now, the way the published number for 911 and for EMA is 760-6363. But in order to get a new 911 address, if you're building a new home or have to add a 911 address, then you have to be transferred to someone else. So you talk to somebody here, they get all your information, and you get transferred. Kind of goes back to what we've been talking about with 911 all along, one call, one service.
Yeah.
We don't have that right now. And so our hope is by putting that phone tree in place that we can direct callers from the time that they start hearing information to where they need to go in a timely manner. The second part is if it's after hours and you need service, there's been no way the phone will just ring. So for instance, the phone at my desk says that there are 333 missed calls. I either have to return 333 calls, and I don't know what they were calling for in the first place because I don't have voicemail, or with this phone tree, there will be an option for after hours emergency management and the 911 communication center so that they could get to a live voice even after hours.
Okay, well,
I was just saying, you're not talking about when you dial 911.
No.
So I think
911,
that's-
no, 911's still gonna go straight to the 911 center.
okay.
This is
Go
just-
straight to a human being.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Yes, sir. I'm sorry for that confusion. That's not what
Well, I mean, I maybe just got confused on it. I just wanted to make sure I don't want to have to start going this.
No, sir. No. If you call 911, you're gonna get a live body every time.
Okay.
This is just administrative stuff and during normal business hours when somebody needs information.
And that's good to have a recording.
Yes, sir.
You know, especially after hours and stuff.
Yes, sir.
And maybe they might be tied up, but I like a quick return myself.
Absolutely.
This waiting 30 minutes or an hour, you know, but I understand. That's good.
Yes, sir.
You got it good.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. What's the current model that we're looking at for the 911 board? Or the three commissioners,
No, sir. The conversation last week was that you would have one commissioner appointed by the county commission. You would have one member appointed by the board of directors of the Volunteer Fire Association.
Yes, okay,
And the
okay.
sheriff of the county. And then on the city side, one city council person, elected or appointed by the city council, the chief of police and the fire chief. And then the seventh would be the mayor.
Danny and Andy rotate
Yes,
as, okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, very good.
Yeah, I talked to Andy today and he seemed good with that, but he was of the understanding that we would both be on it and then it would be another joint appointee. And I said, no, there's only 7.
Yes, sir.
But anyhow, I think they're good with the setup.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
That's good.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr. Chairman.
Greg. Okay. Bruce?
From last week, the counter proposal on the future lease of workforce development was communicated to their attorney, who was on vacation last week, but we worked via email. He got it today, assured me that he had made the counter proposal changes to the lease term document and was going to get it to his client as soon as possible. So I told Commissioner Garner to look for communication from, in the way of response to your counter proposal anytime this week. And if he contacts me directly, then I'll get on the horn to y'all. Met with John before the meeting, and in order for me to give the legal opinion that is requested for the change order that's been discussed, I have to have the documents completely filled out in order to give an informed opinion. That's going to be next week, and I want to thank him for not only getting me the information so I can review it to give an informed legal opinion, but he's also offered to sit down with me on some of this technical jargon that's really outside of the legal realm, more of the construction realm, and I appreciate that. Mr. Lockwood also is on vacation, but has been kind enough to deal with me even on vacation, and he is on board with doing the research and is on board with eventual litigation if it becomes necessary being lead counsel. I need to meet with Brenda about legal fees and then ask him to send a committal letter, which we will place in this beer liquor tax file. I've met with Carrie Ann Jardon. I think St. Florine's on board. I know Killen's on board. Florence intends to, according to Mr. Musgrove, have it agreed to and in place and being collected before he goes on his vacation, which is what he committed to me. And then Mr. Stanfield, who represents Rogersville and Lexington, should be able to do the same thing. So I see no reason why it should not be being collected, documented by the end of the month by all of the municipalities.
I was just gonna tell the commissioners, Killen sent us a check this week for the month of, they haven't sent us any back, but they sent us for the month of May, and it was $2,661.
So we should have the current collections all in place by the end of the month moving forward. And then, again, we go back on the issue of arrearages, which you've got the same issue with all of the municipalities in principle and in legality, but obviously Florence is a huge issue compared to some of these others that just started selling. So, we'll work our way through it.
Hello. Thank you for checking into that. Thank
Yeah, thank you.
Roger for bringing this up. This is gonna be good for us, the county.
Yes. And I've got, Brad sent me the documentation to review and give with Mr. Musgrove tomorrow. And all other issues, I'm working independently with the department heads. So that's all I got. It's much of it a work in progress, but there, where we are on all of the issues I'm working on.
Sounds good, sounds good.
I have just a couple of things. This is National Safety Month, and I've sent an email to all the department heads, but I'd really like the sheriff's department and the road department to send me some pictures showing your employees actually maybe checking the oil on their equipment and looking to make sure everything's okay.
And we need to send it to the ACCA, they're asking for safety, because y'all do have the safety packets in your vehicles and stuff. Maybe looking at the vehicle and checking it. I need I got some pictures from other counties today, so I need y'all to take some pictures. This is the second week of the safety committee meeting. We go to a, next Thursday, me and Kelly and Stephanie will go to the safety committee meeting in Coleman. And then the other thing is, I need to do a budget amendment for the county commission's office for next week. I'm working, the department heads that are here got their budgets today, and I was thinking about 3 weeks, start looking at them. We give them about 3 weeks to do that. But we're over in office supplies due to buying some computer equipment and some things, so I need to move some money over into that account. That was one of the things. There's a couple other departments that have some issues, but I haven't seen anything major. When I was printing them off this past week, I was trying to look at them at the same time, so. And that's really all I got.
Anything else for this department?